Hi, welcome back to At the Threshold. Today's day 4. My name is Katie. Thank you for being here. I've been thinking a little bit about what I had said in day 2 and day 3, and honestly, these videos have intentions, but they're not scripted. So some of the things I say in the video aren't planned. And yesterday on day 3, I shared a little bit about the tattoo I have on my right arm, that image of the Shifa and what that meant to me. As I was thinking about what to talk about today, I wanted to share a little bit more about beginnings. But a beginning implies an ending, and I think it creates a good opportunity for me to share my other tattoo on my left arm. I wasn't always balanced, but I am now. It's an ouroboros. If you're familiar with an ouroboros, you'll know it's a snake eating its tail. If not, I just told you. It's a snake eating its tail. And it represents the death and rebirth process that we all go through. You may be more familiar with the symbol of the phoenix and rising through the ashes, and it's something that, I think we've all experienced in some ways. I just was reflecting on that process and wanted to make that today's focus because, when we talk about beginnings, I often get asked, to talk through how I was successful in my entrepreneurial journey. I get invited to speak at panels, and these themes in these business settings are things like grit, being willing to fail. But I think there's something deeper than that at the heart of success is a willingness to let yourself go through that death and rebirth process, to allow yourself to be reinvented, to allow yourself to let go of what no longer serves you. And it's not an easy process. I think life sometimes throws us situations where we don't have a choice. Maybe we lose a job. I actually lost housing for a little bit. I had a financial means, so I wasn't out on the streets. But there's lots of times, a cancer diagnosis, where we're forced to let go of things. But when we intentionally and consciously move through the death and rebirth process, it can be extremely empowering. And I see a lot out there about new beginnings and vision boards this time of year, right? Starting something new. And we forget that implied that means we're ending something at the same time. And the bigger the shift and change in our lives, the more time we need to move from death to rebirth. There's this transitory time. I'm in the middle of it. I can speak from experience that I feel like, honestly, the last 2.5, 3 years, I've been in this in-between time of big shifts and transition with something emerging. And inside that time, smaller things I've had to let go of and reinvent myself along the way. So this theme of death and rebirth, I think, is worth reflecting on. And on day 2, I said something about quiet confidence. And that just came out naturally because it's something that's been my personal focus as a leader. To me, quiet confidence is finding inside myself the esteem, the confidence of knowing who I am, that my intentions are good. And it gives me, my hope, quiet confidence in how I show up in a room. I'm not frantically trying to explain my presence. I'm not frantically trying to prove my worth. It is known to me, and hopefully I've been naming that and labeling it quiet confidence. And maybe others will see it, and if they don't, I'm okay with that. And I see sometimes the opposite, and when I see it in other people, I just know that's because I can only recognize it because I am that way myself at times. But when we have that frantic energy of trying to prove ourselves, it doesn't feel authentic, right? And how does this relate to death and rebirth? It feels like I just went on a tangent. The truth is that quiet confidence, that part where that comes from, doesn't die. The parts of us that we let go of are the parts of us that served us in that stage, but no longer serve us. And our very core, our very being, the part that never dies, just emerges that much brighter. At least that's my opinion of the process. So when we talk about death and rebirth, it's why change is so scary. We're letting go of the known, we're moving into the unknown. And the bigger the change, the more we're going to find resistance to that process, the more we're going to self-sabotage or try to self-sabotage, because our subconscious is, whether it's bad or good, and even when it's like, why would I stay at this horrible job? I'm crying every day, which was true for me back in 2012. Well, I knew what I was dealing with, and walking into the unknown, I didn't know what that would look like. So the death and rebirth process happens to us, but we can consciously move through it. So for today, I would like to reflect on what is it that no longer serves us. 2025 was the year of the snake. So this whole idea of shedding a skin, the ouroboros is a snake. What no longer serves me? What is it time to let go of so that I have the space to find a new beginning? I really believe that that is the trick and the key to real success. Consciously letting go of what no longer serves you and recognizing this isn't a one-time intention, prayer, journal entry. This is a process, and giving yourself grace as you work through that process of letting go, but being aware of it, being intentional, and knowing that the beauty of the death and rebirth process is that at an ending, it's also implied there's always a beginning. So it's a step of faith of letting go of what doesn't serve and trusting that the phoenix will rise, that the new beginnings follow the endings, and even when that's a process. So with that, I'm gonna close today. I'll put in a prompt in Alumah if you'd like to journal there that goes along with the theme of the ouroboros and death and renewal. But I'm gonna close with a poem from Rumi. It's called Quietness. Inside this new love, die. Your way begins on the other side, become the sky. Take an axe to the prison wall, escape. Walk out like somebody suddenly born into color, do it now. You're covered with thick cloud, slide out the side, die. And be quiet. Quietness is the surest sign that you've died. Your old life was a frantic running from silence. The speechless full moon comes out now. Thank you. I hope you have a great day, and I hope to see you tomorrow.